Estou aqui com galera que faz, especialista em fazer vozes de criaturas, monstros. Vocês podem começar se apresentando?
Meu nome é Gabriel e eu sou Extreme Vocal Coach aqui no Brasil. Eu ensino distorção vocal no Brasil e eu tenho um canal no YouTube que eu ensino e também sou dublador de monstros aqui no Brasil e team leader da The Monster Factory brasileira.
Tem um artista de voz aqui, amigo nosso, Taneco. Cara, eu falei de vocês, aí ele falou, a primeira coisa que ele falou assim, cara, eles fazem, eles ensinam. Aí eu falei, cara, pô, se eles não ensinam, eu vou fazer eles se ensinarem, né? Porque então você tem curso, tem uns cursos, alguma coisa, ou você dá o curso, é legal, cara, porque era pro pessoal da Game Audio Academy, tem muito artista de voz, e a gente precisa ver se organiza aí alguma coisa, uma live depois com mais calma, pra... when you go back to Canada?
Unfortunately, I go back to Montreal tomorrow. Tomorrow night.
We record every single Friday a podcast at Shure Studios. You know Shure, probably. probably. A little bit sure. And you are just invited to be with him, with us. Sorry, with us. Bom, pessoal, vai ser em inglês. Depois a gente vai separar esse vídeo, vai colocar as legendas para eles poderem falar mais confortavelmente. All the interview will be made in English, okay? Rodrigo, it's in your hands. Thank you so much.
Guys, I will ask you to introduce yourselves to the audience.
Hi, my name is Sebastien Croteau. I've been doing voice acting for Creature and Monster and video game for 18 years by now. I'm also a vocal teacher. I teach voice acting, vocal distortion, screaming. I've been doing it for 15 years. And I have a company called The Monster Factory with 100 and something voice talent all over the world.
Can you introduce yourself now in English just so you can cut the interview later?
Yeah. I am the leader of the team leader of the Monster Factory here in Brazil. So I am Brazilian. Olá, gente. So I am a harsh vocalist. I do the same as he do, and that's it.
Guys, I'm really excited to have you here. I love creature sounds, monster sounds. So it's amazing to have you here. How you started this idea? Where it come from to have a company just doing that?
It's actually took a while because, like I was saying, I've been doing this for since 2005. But when I was doing it, it was only like one creature every 2-3 years. Like it was not something that was really common. And then at some point, companies started to talk. Like, hey, have you worked with this guy? He's really good for creature. And then one contract every 2-3 years became one contract every year. And then one contract every year became one contract every 6 months. And after a while, they basically asked me if I had any friends that could do that as well. Of course, metal vocalists, we don't have friends, right? So I said, no. No, I said, yeah, of course, I know people. So gradually, I started incorporating friends, metal vocalists in this thing. And after, 10, 15 years of that, I was at a point where I was like, why not create a company, where 20 people by now in Montreal, but why not create a company who just specializes in that and that primarily use metal vocalists for that? So I created the company, but it's only when we did the work on Guardian of the Galaxy that I decided to expand to have international a team everywhere in the world, mostly because a video game is always translated in many languages, right? And sometimes Creature and Monster, they do have script lines. They do have text, not all the time, but sometimes they do have text. So I'm like, okay, so if we do some of the voices in French or English, like I need people that will be able to do the voices in Portuguese, in German, in Italian, in Swedish, in Japanese, in Russian, in Portuguese, exactly. So this is where I got the idea of having people all over the world, so that when this happened, we can actually have the same quality of voices, across all languages for a video game.
And how the metal vocalist techniques they are useful for doing. I know a little bit, but how think it's, because I think it's the people that sing metal, they have that, usually they have a deep voice if they sing in death metal, thrash metal. So how these techniques can be useful doing a monster.
The thing is, doing monster requires scary sound, and I've listened, and I'm still listening to a lot of different style of monster, and the only voice that scares me is not country music singer, is not techno or pop singer, is not maybe Björk. Sometimes she can be scary, but the one type of voices that is really associated with horror, darkness. Like people still think that we worship Satan, like when we so there's a link, with something dark, with darkness. So that's why for me we are the most credible people to do that kind of thing, because of all the persona, of all the environment, of everything that revolves around metal music, the kind of dark, which is kind of funny to say that, because as you can see, I'm not depressed, dark, or unhappy. I smile and I love laughing a lot, because this is still a myth about metal people. But this is why, and especially the voice technique, give us a vocal endurance that no voice actor actually have. For them, if we ask them to scream 15-20 minutes, they're done. And we can basically do that because of the knowledge and the voice technique that we have. We can do that for hours and hours. So just in terms of being efficient for a video game company, like instead of having to book 4 recording session of 1 hour, they have to book 1 of 4 hours, and they have everything they need. So for them, it's a lot more efficient, but also they are hiring highly specialized people. It's like hiring stuntmen when you are doing a movie, right? Because it's highly specialized. So for me, it's the same. So they aware of the limits of the voice actors and actresses, but they also aware of what we can do and achieve with our voices, and we can do it in a sustainable way. So this is why for me, all the advantages that makes metal vocalist the perfect creature and monster voice actor.
And how you came into this world?
So I have a YouTube channel that I help other people how to distort his voices. And once I made an interview with a Spanish harsh vocalist called Mara. Mara, thank you so much. We spent 2 or 3 hours talking about harsh vocals. And then she said for Sebastien was looking for a team leader in Brazil. And so Mara said, "Oh, that's the crazy guy in Brazil. Yeah, you should meet. Yeah, you should meet." And then we met. Yes, we met 2 hours talking and laughing a lot. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like every meeting that I had, like with him or with all the others, we all did weird sound for a couple of minutes at least.
Yeah. And it's kind of that. And so that's it. Now we start to work together. In my team in Brazil, we have 10 people that just like us. It's a family for us. They do all the kind of distortions, harsh vocals, and that's it.
And that's the thing, because there's something to be said about that. Like I was explaining in the conference I just gave, creature voice actor or vocal stunt performance is something new, right? Yeah. And the main thing that people use for that are animal sound libraries. So this is why one of the reasons that I travel so much. Like I was in Sweden a month ago at Nordic Game Convention. Now I'm here. I'm going to be in Germany at Gamescom in a month and a half, because you don't need to convince people to hire a voice actor for regular voice acting, right? But you do need to convince people to go from animal sound libraries to using human voice to create that. So that is why I go around, because this is, again, something new for them. And I'm just traveling the planet telling them, hey, there's a new way to do that. So here's how we can work together and do that. And game development takes a long time, sometimes 5, 6, 7 years. So my goal for me, of course, is to make sure that the people on my team work. So I train them. We just did a training session last Monday with the team in Sao Paulo. So I train them because it requires a lot of knowledge. Even if we think, oh, it's just monsters, no, it's much more complex than that. So hopefully, in a year or 2 years, 3 years, like, I'm gonna be able to make everyone in the world work on some video game, but it's still a long process. Like I told everyone at the beginning, I don't know if you're gonna have a contract in the next 6 months, a year or 2 years. I'm not promising you anything. All I can promise you, and I'm gonna do as much as I can to make people aware of what we can do, and then after we'll see where it falls. Right?
I have one last question. We have little time. What is your, both of you can answer this. What is your favorite creature that you work on?
Difficult one.
Okay.
Maybe two.
Now, okay. I'm gonna say it like this. It's hard to beat the Hulk. Like I did the voice of the Hulk. It's Marvel. It's been around in I've grown up with the Hulk as the cartoon or the first series with Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk. I was watching that when I was a kid. So it's hard not to say the Hulk. But there's a creature that I voice. I cannot talk about it right now. But for me, if you think about all the best creature movies and video game, and you make a top 5, I did the voice of a creature in this top 5. And I cannot talk about it because it's not been released. But this would be the second one. So I'm sorry I cannot tell more about it, but this is, for me, like, it's equal to the Hulk. So you can imagine how big it is. So I would say both of that.
I did something, but I can say, but I like to do zombies and other stuff. When you do this kind of type things with the voice, man, it's difficult. When I see him do it, I want to do it, and that's very difficult. It's a tough question.
Yeah, but zombie are usually favorite among everyone. Of course. But everyone wants to be a zombie. Like there's something to being a zombie that is kind of mythical, right?
Thank you guys for being here with us. And how you think about this project that we had today, the event, Game Out Track?
Amazing events. Sincerely, like for me, when I travel to video game convention, like it's hard to find audio people. Because it's basically events where if you have a game, you come here to sell it to publisher or something like that. Yeah. So it's really hard. So for me, having people organize an event dedicated to everything that is audio, I was like, when I knew it was Victor that I met last year, I was like, thank God, like, because the people that I want to meet are the people who works in audio. So I was really grateful. And for me, it's just been a wonderful day. Like I said, I had my crash course in Portuguese during all the day because I, of course, I don't speak it, but I was listening and trying to understand as much as possible. I can get a few words here and there, but for me, I want to learn a little bit of the language. So that's the best way to do it, right? Yes. But it was just an amazing day. I'm just so thankful about everyone who came and everyone who's been part of the organization.
Yeah, I think it's a big family changing knowledge, and that's the most important thing. I hope so one day bands do this too, heavy metal bands do this too. And man, it's a pleasure. It's my father for me, and all these are my brothers and sisters. That's it, guys. thank you so much.
Can you guys share your social media, where people can find you? You have a course also, so can you share all the information that we can find you?
You cannot find me. I will find you. No, actually, you can find me on LinkedIn. The company, The Monster Factory. We have a YouTube channel, The Monster Factory. We have Facebook, The Monster Factory. We have Instagram, The Monster Factory. And if you want to find me specifically, it's impossible. I live in the dark. No, it's possible. My name is linked to the company, so it's possible there as well. I'm on Twitter also, De Monstre. Instead of like the monster, it's the monstre because I'm French. Like I said, my de monstre, which means the monster, the monstre. So it's possible to find me there. But I think in my Facebook profile, I have a LinkedIn tree that you can click on it, and there's all social media. So yeah.
I will speak in português.
Yes.
Eu tenho um canal no YouTube chamado Monstro Vocal. A galera me conhece lá para eu ensinar a distorcer a voz de um jeito muito mais fácil, simplificado. E eu tenho um curso online também que eu ensino a galera a cantar e a distorcer a voz. Eu tive cover de Pantera por 5 anos e, pô, cantei demais. Então, foi uns 10 anos de experiência aí para quem quiser começar a cantar, fazer uns barulhos com a voz. Tamo junto e agradeço demais. Muito obrigado. Segue lá no Instagram, Gabriel, Monstro Vocal, tudo junto, que vai ter tudo lá. Obrigado, gente.
Thank you guys very much for taking the time to be with us on the event and also making this little interview.
It was just amazing.
You are inviting us, Thiago said, to do a bigger interview with us at Sure. So please.
Yeah. He's going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Montreal. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bye.